Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it
Happy
is wherever
time
you are.
zone. It's happy time zone, right?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Not too bad. A little tired this morning. That's all right. We'll survive. Um,
You need coffee, but you don't drink it. Are you still on
mm-mm.
the Diet Coke kick? Diet Pepsi. Okay. Is that
I
not
found
working?
Diet cherry Pepsi. Well,
What?
you only drink so much of it. That's the only problem.
I guess that's true, right? Because there's a
I
ton
guess
of
you could bathe in
sugar.
it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what's this diet? It's no sugar, right?
Oh
But
yeah, I guess that's true. Well, it's a bunch of
it's got
chemicals.
a chemical cocktail. So interestingly enough, how it always says all these diet sodas, they say phenylketonurics. Sorry if you're a phenylketonuric and I'm mispronouncing that. But it says it contains phenylalanine or whatever, right? Like whatever words that there's vowel soup.
Yeah, a
But
bunch, a bunch of science words.
so there's a guy I used to work with, good friend of mine actually, and his wife was a phenylketonuric, and he would have to go to like the state had some like a super long term study, and he'd go to the state every month or every year or something, and he would get basically like these big crates of some kind of, it was almost like a milk, but it wasn't milk, it was some other kind of chemical. I don't know what it was, but it was like this. It was, and I have read that on the bottles of soda for years. I never had any idea what it meant until I found out. But apparently, like it can cause all sorts of wonkiness. But I mean, I feel
Wow.
like this is the thing. So today you turn on the news, you turn on the television, and there are mesothelioma ads. Get your lawsuit or
Yep.
whatever.
Right.
That's what's 30, 40 years from now. It's going
That's
to be
what this is
because of
going to
this.
become. Yep, I
Yeah,
agree.
they'll
I agree.
say,
Are you or your
did your
family
dad?
victims of drinking diet cherry
Sorry,
Pepsi?
did
And
your
then,
dad drink diet soda?
yeah, and your kids are like, yes, should I actually get him enrolled in the study?
Yeah. Call now. Operators are standing by, waiting to take your information.
Ah,
So only a matter of time, but whatever. So
it's the world we
I
live
don't
in.
know.
Nobody wants us to live long anymore. They'd rather have us suck down a bunch of chemicals and stunt our ability to live long, I guess. So,
I think they want us to live. Well, they don't want us to live long on our own. They want us
oh
to
yeah,
live
fair
long
with
so they
pills.
can, yeah, so they can pay us, so we can
Yep,
pay them to keep us alive.
yep.
Which I mean, to each their own. Like, whatever. I'm not here to judge. Personally, that's probably not for me. So but whatever. It is what it is. Anyway,
So we are here today
yeah,
to do more ADFS work.
we
And
are.
if you've paid attention to us thus far, JP installed Azure AD Connect Health for ADFS last time and simulated some ADFS activity. So today, you've got a website you're building, right? And we're going to be walking through the code, walking through what you've built, and that folks can then go to adfs.me and just figure out if they're using ADFS,
That's
right?
right.
Okay.
So ADFS is a thing. If you don't know what ADFS is, which is it's the title of today's stream. If you know what ADFS is, it's Active Directory Federation Services. It's a server or set of servers that you run so that you get like on-prem style authentication, Kerberos or whatever, certificates, smart cards, all that stuff. You get this to go out to other apps. Of course, Office 365, Azure AD being one of the most common ones. And for a long time, that was the guidance. Was, well, if you're going to use Office 365, obviously you're going to
Yeah.
use your on-prem Kerberos stuff. So clearly,
Right.
you should install ADFS. The problem has become that ADFS has. It's still, of course, a valid piece of software. It's a valid thing that's supported and probably will be for the next 9 million years because it's built into Windows. But there are a lot of features that just can't, like they just don't work in ADFS, just by virtue, by virtue of how ADFS is designed. Because ADFS runs on prem in your data center, right, or wherever you decide to host it. And because of that, the things that we get from operating a service at scale, like password protection, for example, to be able to see passwords as they come through, and throttling and all sorts of fun stuff that comes through. Like when people try to do to the internet, like from the internet, DDoSes, all that sort of stuff, we can mitigate them and handle them for the most part because we operate the service. Your ADFS server is out there on the internet. It's probably sitting behind a WAP or something, but ultimately it's on the internet, and that's for you to run, for you to manage. So what you're going to hear a lot from us over the next, I'd say 10 to 12 months is if you don't have an explicit reason for using ADFS, it's probably time to go ahead and start turning those off. Start migrating your apps, migrating your auth from ADFS into Azure AD. And we're going to look at both. We're going to look at how to do both of those things. And of course, there's lots of docs and videos and stuff that exist already. But thinking about them in two discrete steps. One side is we've got migrating your apps. So if you've got, like, let's say you've got Salesforce and Azure AD and I don't know, like Expensify and like 5 other apps in your ADFS. You might have claim rules associated with them. You might have transformations and stuff that happen. So, like, if you want to move those and get them out, a little bit of work, a little bit of effort we have to go through to make sure those work. If you've got custom line of business apps, same thing, right? You're probably gonna have to tweak some things here and there. The other side to this is migrating specifically authentication to Azure AD. Now, there's actually a way we can back federate, which we're probably gonna have a friend of mine come on and talk about how to do that later. But by moving your authentication to Azure AD, now everything Azure AD side is all handled by us. So things like seamless SSO, that give you that sort of same seamless experience of just, you sign in as a user who you're signed into the machine with. Pass-through authentication, all those things still work. So where 5, 6, 7 years ago, those things didn't exist. And so you had to type in a separate username and password, or maybe your password got synced, which was a problem for a lot of big places, right? Like, you're not going to let you sync your password hash. A lot of that's gone now because there are lots of different other solutions that make it work. And if you're like me, who doesn't even use Windows as my main machine anymore, then it doesn't matter anyway, because you weren't really getting a whole lot of Kerberos and sort of seamless sign-on like that anyway.
Right.
So hang on a second. I gotta send my wife a message because the Culligan guy is here to tell us how to get water that doesn't have E. coli in it. And
what?
Okay, so
you have you're plagued in the realm of water in your home, or water coming to your home.
Okay, when we moved here, it's a well, which is
that sort of explains it to me.
When it was inspected, the water had E. coli in it.
Okay.
Which the people who lived here weren't living here at the time, so they hadn't been here for a while, whatever. So we got tested. They came back with E. coli, and we're like, okay. I was ready to be like, nope, not buying a house with E. coli in the water. Like, I got little kids. I don't need to be flipping myself inside out every day because I'm sick with E. coli poisoning or whatever. And being someone who grew up in a city, I don't really know much about wells. I don't really know much about septic systems. I don't know much about any of this stuff, right? So I was like, nope, not doing it. Like, we're just not gonna live here. I'm done. Don't want to do this. Don't have anything to do with it. So turns out, I guess, like, everybody says, look, it's pretty common, but you definitely need to get it fixed. So we had people come out and fix it, whatever. So right now there's none in it, at least so far as I'm aware. Nobody's sick anyway, we'll say. But just to feel a little bit better, I would kind of like to have some sort of filtration, reverse osmosis, something, so they're going to figure that out. Anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a common thing, surprisingly, in like the unincorporated parts of Chicago. So the really far southern sides of the city, as well as the far west sides and the far north sides. So if you're on well water, that's a pretty common thing, evidently, in the sense that you have to protect yourself. So
I'll tell you what, if it's probably using SAML, because
it's not using Kerberos.
We all know what the S in SAML stands for, but anyway, it's the kind of thing that E. coli does to you. But anyway, so yeah, anyway, point being, back to ADFS, I guess. So we want there are lots of benefits to moving off of ADFS, and I think in a lot of smaller places don't even know that they use it. So
Right.
the pediatrician we had when my kids were a little smaller, when we lived back in Charlotte, she had ADFS for her 4-person firm, like 4-person
Yeah, and
pediatrician
it's like,
office, right?
do you really need that for that small of a firm? No.
Well, and at the time, like, it was an easy experience because they had Outlook, like, that was running under
Sure.
somebody's desk. They had an Exchange server running under somebody's desk for a long time, so Outlook just worked. They had to sign in and type in passwords, all that stuff. So they wanted that kind of an experience. And 6 or 7 years ago, that was the way you did it. Was you installed ADFS. But if you called their office today and said, "Hi, would you like to migrate off of ADFS?" She would say, "Is that some sort of a childhood disease? Like, what are you talking about, ADFS? I have no idea what that is."
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling that's going to be a pretty common sentiment too. Is that there are lots of folks who just don't know what ADFS is, who are using it every day and don't know. And that brings us to the first thing we wanted to tackle today, which is building a quick and dirty little web app that tells you if you're using ADFS. That's it. It's very simple. Along the same lines as, like, did the Detroit Lions win yesterday.com or one of those style things where we just put a big yes or a no in the middle of the screen, right? So, the other thing is the tool we were looking at last week that generates a bunch of login activity so that you can actually review, like, your Connect Health dashboard. That tool tried to do some screen scraping and things, and if you remember last week, we tried to use that, and it blew up and said it wasn't going to work. It wouldn't work on PowerShell core. Reason being, it uses in Windows PowerShell. This was news to me. In Windows PowerShell, if you do an invoke web request, you can actually parse the HTML with the IE6 Trident engine that's built into all the Windows versions. Probably has been forever and will be forever. You can use that engine to parse the HTML. And so in the script, it was $forms to essentially get a collection of forms out of the HTML. And then it would submit the form, which was the username and password form. Now, ADFS has an active endpoint, so you can just submit a username and password directly to it. I think it's called the username mixed endpoint. Not every ADFS server has it enabled for obvious reasons, but by default it is there. So the other thing is we need to kind of update that script to start using username mixed, and that way it'll be far more reliable in terms of working across many different kinds of installations of different ages and vintages and everything else. So so we got to do that too. So whichever one we want to do today, I'm kind of down. I think I'm down to do either one.
I still think it's funny that you bought the adfs.me domain. I feel like we should spin that one up.
Okay, we can do that. Now, one other bit of news from last week. I spent the weekend. If you remember last week the internet here was marginal. It was good, right? Decent download, decent upload.
Questionable. It was questionable upload. It was questionable upload.
Questionable upload. So what I did over the weekend.
By the way, you never sent me a picture. Did you? Do you have a picture of it?
I did. So I went out Friday with the drone and flew around the backyard to try to find line of sight to the tower, because I know where the tower is. It's 1.4 miles down. So I took the drone out and started just flying around to try to figure out where I could see it. And it turns out that 133 feet from the back of the pole barn shed thing in our backyard is where the trees are the lowest between me and the tower. Now, there's just one little blob of trees, too. Like, it's also possible, I don't know if burning trees is arson, probably, but I mean, I'm sure I could find somebody sketchy to go burn me down like a little, 5-10 foot wide stretch of trees or something. But that's a different story. Different story for a different day. So, I found a spot where I need 27, 28 feet off the ground for it to fit. And so I built a built is a strong term. I zip tied and Ziploc bagged and generally weirded out all my neighbors to make that. Now, I believe this is destiny, and here's why. This little set of trees right here just happened to be right where the spot was that this was going to be most effective, right? In addition to that, I found two, not just one, but two of these poles in concrete with a tire around them.
They were probably for like what was it? The tetherball, probably, or something like that. That's what we used to use it for when I was a kid.
The pole diameter just happens to be ever so slightly larger than the diameter of the painter's pole that I have this thing zip tied to. Now, fate, I don't know. But anyway, so this is my current internet setup.
Tetherball for giants, yes. Tetherball for giants.
Yes, tetherball maybe for angry giants who don't want me to have internet. But yeah, it's. But I'll tell you what's wild about it is the signal levels went up dramatically. So.
By the way, is that your actual T-Mobile, like, what do they call that? The router?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
So I have
that's
antennas
even
on
more
order.
Hilarious.
I have antennas on order. They're just not here yet. But yes, it is the Arcadian.
Yeah, because I have that as my
VD21.
Yeah.
Which is this thing. Let's see if we can find a picture of it.
Is it waterproof?
Absolutely not. That's where the Ziploc bags come into play. It's a little.
Oh my God.
So,
that's some ingenuity there, my friend.
It's proper. Yeah, it's this one. It looks like that. This is properly a test rig. Don't get me wrong. But my signal. So my download speed's doubled to 700, 750, and my upload speed 80, 85, and then started now spiking beyond 100.
Nice.
So I mean, problem solved in my mind. Now I got to find somebody who can build a tower. But yeah, it's this one. It's like a square thing.
You're not gonna leave the tetherball for giants up?
No, I'm gonna have some. Well, the thing is, I still need to go up another 10 to 15 feet.
Oh, okay. So they really do need to come out and build an actual thing that's not this.
Yeah. So I called some guys, and I'm waiting to hear back from them if they can build. I mean, somebody I'm sure will be happy to build a tower. It's just a matter of building one because it's going to probably get up to about here, right? Like it's going to be a little high, which is fine as it needs to be. But yeah. But I mean, the data doesn't lie. This was us on stream last week with our 4.99 megabit when I was going all wonky.
Well, and yeah, it sounded like you were in a tunnel.
Yeah.
And we were talking on your cell phone, and it was breaking up, and then I was like, "Oh my God!" And then you were doing this. It was hilarious. It was good.
So yeah, I mean, signal is all really good now. Like much better than it was before. Like I mean, my received power before was like 100, 103. Now it's 70s. Signal to noise was like 15, 17. Now it's 20s. Quality was always okay. It was just a little weak. So
Code with Sean starts petition to save the tetherball for giants poll.
Danny says connects the router to
using Azure.
I mean, it's funny you say that, actually, Danny. So I have this little tool, and all of you can go try to hit this tool too. If you go to net.jpd.ms, I think you have to sign in, which of course none of you can because you don't have an account there, but you do have to sign in with Azure AD. So yes, it is protected by Azure AD. Thank you very much, Mr.
Wow.
Mr.
Look
Varela.
at you.
So,
look at you.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, the other thing is because my because I'm like at least double natted here, maybe even triple natted. I'm not entirely sure. I can't like publish stuff to the internet, so I have to use tunnels and relays and all sorts of stuff to get it out there, but it does work. So like if you go to flights.jpd.ns, which is the tower outside of my house that picks up airplanes and stuff, that is published through Cloudflare tunnels to the internet, because I don't have like a public IP address that's mine that you can directly address. So anyway, okay, so let's figure out what we're going to do today. So we're going to do two things. We need to let a user type in their username, right? And then tell them whether or not they use ADFS or not, right? And here's the thing. Here's the secret. It's not really a secret. Today, when you go to the Azure AD login page, so if you wanted to log into something, right? Let's get a new private window here. If I wanted to go to office.com and sign in, and I hit the sign in button, I get taken to Azure AD, as you do. Now, what is this thing doing? Why is it signing me in? It's a private window. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Is this your is that your work profile?
I guess the private windows aren't that private.
It just took over your whole machine.
Yeah, I guess so. Way to go, Intune. Okay. I'm hoping this is an actual private browser. Okay. I'll have to go scrub my internet history now. Okay. Since my private browser is apparently not so private. So this is your sign-in page, right?
Yep.
And when you type in an account here, like if I was to type in, say, this account, which does not use ADFS, trying to sign you in, now it's asking me to sign in with a password, just because that's how this one's configured, right? If you have passwordless or something set up, like if I was to do this one, this one still has a password too. If I was to do my work one, work is passwordless. Now I get the passwordless thing, right? However, if I was to do one that, oh no, what happened to my browser? It died on me. If I was to do one that was private, or that was using ADFS or something else, could be Okta, ADFS, anything external to Azure AD, right? That's not relying on Azure AD for authentication. Then we're going to get redirected. And so you say to yourself, well, how does it know to redirect that person based on what they type in, right? So if I was to type in at adfs.lol, which is our ADFS deployment, taking you to your organization's sign-in page, and this will redirect us to ADFS. Now my ADFS server isn't turned on right now. Trying to do my part to be responsible after $52 billion in earnings was a little bit of a miss. I don't want my $7 a month ADFS server to chew into future financial results, you know. So, Danny's baiting me in the comments. Split cloud, Azure AD, between commercial and GCC, GCC being government community cloud, if you're not familiar, with a single AD for us. So today, right now, I believe this is still the current guidance, which is that essentially you dual federate. You federate the same directory to two different places, to GCC and to commercial. Reason being, commercial and GCC, so government and commercial, they are essentially completely separate, isolated instances. So if your domain is danny.gov, you can federate that into both places because they are not part of the same sort of global thing, right? Now, if you tried to federate danny.gov and I tried to federate danny.gov or use that domain in my directory, and both of our directories were in commercial, yeah, that would blow up and it would not work because that domain's already taken. Now, I have to be careful, but there is work being done on cross-cloud collaboration to where this specific scenario of government users, which is a fairly common one, who use both commercial and GCC resources or gov resources, can essentially get a better experience through some sort of tenant-to-tenant B2B style magic, as opposed to what they have to do today, which is they're completely disconnected. So some of that work is coming. I don't know how much of that work is available even in public. I don't think much of it's in public preview just yet, but feel free to ping us. Of course, Danny, you know how to find us, but if you're watching and you want to learn more about this, you can email us at 425show@microsoft.com, and we'll be happy to connect you to the right people. So yeah, it's definitely a hot topic. So okay, now back to what we were talking about around determining how you should sign in. When we typed in our username in that window, of course, there are lots of requests that are happening that determine what to do. And one of those takes you to login.microsoftonline.com. Of course, in GovCloud, this would be .gov. In China, it would be login.partner.microsoftonline.cn, I believe. And then the Gov clouds have, Gov has the Gov, and then the other higher clouds all have their own specific endpoints, but this is commercial, so we'll use that. Common, user realm, and then the name of your, now this could be two things. It could be your realm. It could be your
user account,
it could be
too,
your entire, right, because there is a thing called stage rollout, which we haven't talked about much, but which we'll get into probably in the future. I'll get David out, or you can, one of us can get David, and we'll talk about stage rollout. Traditionally, federation was handled on a domain by domain basis, and so if you had multiple domains in your Azure AD tenant, and you federated one, the entire thing would be federated. So everybody who signed in with mydomain.com would have to go through a federation. With stage rollout, that's no longer the case. With stage rollout, which is kind of neat, you say, cool, do this group of users only, so that only a limited subset of users are actually have their authentication mode switched, right? For the old school folks who used to be around, it was convert MSOL domain, or convert MSOL federated to managed, or something like that. That's essentially what we're trying to do, but stage rollout lets you do it for a limited group of users. Yeah. And the other thing we need on here is API version 2.0. Now, if we go and get this, and then let's pipe it into JQ so we can at least get a look at it, you'll see there's some interesting information. So my namespace is managed. Now, we should go ahead and preface this by saying this is not a published API, in the sense that there's no documentation on this API. It can change at any point because it's a dependency of the service it's running, but it's public, right? I mean, it's something anybody can go out and run. We're not really doing anything crazy there, but if you take a dependency on this and it breaks, you can't call support. They're going to say, well, sorry, you're not supposed to, you can't take a dependency on this anyway.
I do like there is no Spoon LLC.
Yeah, that's
Federation brand name.
Yes, that is the name of my small sort of side business, I guess. But that's why you'll notice that's why the boilerplate text is very Keanu specific.
Yeah.
As are the images of the banner, but that's a different story to that. But you notice it's managed, right?
Okay.
And managed means Azure AD controls it. Hey Bolt, what's up? Glad you could join us today. And then we see the cloud instance, and of course Microsoft Online that's our commercial one. Now, let's choose a different one, which is our ADFS.lol, because we know that's an ADFS one. So let's do this. But instead of using a managed one, we're going to use one of mine here. And if we take a look at this one, you'll notice the namespace type's a little different. Now it's federated.
Interesting. Okay.
We see the login, but now we also see the auth URL. And this is ultimately where Azure AD is going to redirect us when we try to sign in. You can have a lot of fun with this, in fact, because you could redirect that anywhere. It doesn't have to be ADFS. It could be anywhere. It could be your own web app that you've written. It could be your Okta. It could be your Keycloak. It could be anything that you want it to be that's accessible from the internet. In fact, because your users get redirected to the off URL, it could even be something that's only accessible to them on your network or whatever, right? Because I'm sure you've seen that, Shannon, right? Lots of private ADFS that isn't accessible from the internet.
Yep.
So now, of course, that causes a bunch of other stuff to break. And we would never, ever advise you to take your
just
ADFS
go make a
servers,
bunch of
like, off the internet. But because of this, there are lots of things you can do. I mean, federation, and it's one of those things that's both powerful and a bit dangerous if you're not sure about what you're doing. Because essentially, if you return, if a user gets redirected over here to whatever this endpoint is, if you return validly signed SAML, or in this case, this is WS Trust, if you return validly signed messages with whatever protocol and key you're using, then a user signed in, right? The authentication is done. You could return true. As long as you've signed the messages with the key that Azure AD expects, then the authentication is considered successful with whatever data is in there. The username that you type in, for example, into the Azure AD screen that you're typing in your username, it doesn't actually matter. In fact, if we were to do this exact same thing, but I put an actual user in there, you'll see what it changes is the login. So that when I get redirected to my login page, it may already have my username filled in for me. But there's zero validation that's done on that. I mean, I can write an account that I know 100% doesn't exist, which is CM, right? And the account is still there. Anyway, point being, this is a federated namespace, so it's a federated domain, and we know it's WS Trust, blah, 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 blah. So what we have to do is we want to call this when a user goes and types in their username into our silly little web app, right? Into our ADFS.me. Now, I thought about this yesterday about, like, if somebody said to me, hey, you need to go write a client-side web app, what would I write? Because React seems really heavy for this. Now, I'm terrible at front-end development anyway. Right? Front-end dev is not something I'm very good at all. Never have been, probably never will be. But I was looking at this HTMX. Difference between getuserrealm.surf, right? So getuserrealm.surf is one of the old ones. I don't know what the difference is outside of the age. I've used getuserrealm.surf many a time myself, but I don't know, short of one probably using old graph and one using new graph. I don't know like what the actual differences are between them. Only that getuserrealm.surf is like, it's been around for a long time. But it is fun because it's suffixed with surf, and I still to this day have no idea where the surf file extension comes from. So, do you have any idea? Have you ever seen surf before?
I have not. There's so many things though that have a long-standing history that we probably just don't even know about. And it's maybe with good reason. Who knows? Because we'd probably get on our live stream and tell you about the intricacies of how things came to be.
Yeah, that's true. We should find that. I think we should find the person who knows. But anyway, at any rate, I don't know the difference between them. I mean, the structures are definitely different, and I believe getuserrealm.surf can also return you XML if you're into that vibe. So that's cool too. Server response file. Are you being serious right now, Bull? Is that seriously what that stands for?
Who knew Google was so good at answers?
Server response file. I'm not convinced that that's. But I'll give it to you. Like, what web server uses surf files, right? Oh wait, a file, usually with the extension SRF, which is used to direct to the BIS web server in responding to a request. This said, Microsoft Visual Studio server response data, IIS6 server response files. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
It even looks like a dated website. That's my favorite.
This is C++. Wow. Yeah, that's old school, man. That is not for me. Wow.
I thought you said you were old.
Old, but not old school. This came out in 2005. The complete reference for IIS6. I mean, IIS6, I remember I've deployed plenty of stuff on IIS6, so that's not as old as I expected it to be. And giving Microsoft backward compatibility, I feel like you could probably still run a surf today on IIS 14 or whatever the current IIS is. Anyway, okay. So my thought was, if I'm going to go build a web app today, like something super, super stupidly simple, like what we're talking about, like just a web page that's going to make one API call and then call you back and tell you, I was trying to figure out what it should be. I've been kind of back and forth. So one thing I was thinking about was like React is too heavy. We know that,
okay,
right? I don't want to run React. I have to do all that silliness. So the other thing I was thinking was we could, of course, do something like Blazor, .NET Blazor, because it's .NET and whatever. The other thing I was thinking was I've been reading a lot recently and hearing a lot about HTMX, which is apparently it's a collection of extensions that you use HTML, use the markup of HTML, and basically put directives into that.
Okay.
To say like, hey, make a get, make a post, make a this, make a that. Which seems interesting. I don't know. Has anybody here ever used HTMX? Like, I think that's a big question for me. Has anyone ever used HTMX? Because I think it's interesting, but I'm not sure if I like it yet. Like, because there's all the whole stuff of, you're going to conflate all these things together and you're making your markup do things you're not supposed to. Rabble. People get upset about stuff like that, right? But so you do things like, this button, you say, hey, like post to this thing, and then what you get back instead of being JSON tends to be XML. HTML. So it's like, instead of us calling the server, calling an API and saying, hey, give us some data, and then shaping that data, like parsing the JSON and stuffing it into HTML tags to make it look the way we want it to, they're like, just send us back some HTML like we did 400 years ago, and we'll just swap it out. Like, we'll just replace HTML from element A with whatever the HTML is that you send from your web server, right? Which is it's just sort of interesting. I think some of the things that they were doing over at Basecamp and Hey, like in their latest thing, which I know they're sort of like they've got their own thing going on or whatever right now too, but I think that's kind of what they were doing too, which is essentially sending HTML updates over the wire instead of relying on JavaScript processing to process data and turn that into HTML DOM updates because it was faster and lighter weight. So that's another option, is we use HTMX and see sort of how far we can get with that. I'm not convinced. Of course, the thing we need to do is parse JSON. So we're not going to be getting HTML back.
Well, why don't we do Blazor?
We can do Blazor. So, okay, let's do Blazor. Now, the other thing that's interesting, we'll say, about this API is I'm 99% certain that this API we will most likely hit some CORS problems. So let's take a look at the headers and see what we get in terms of headers. If there are any here that we need to deal with. So those all look okay. how can I send? Is there any way to send an options request from here? Let's do an options. I think it's -X. Do options. Oop, didn't like that. Let's see. Goodness. Let's do an I. No, okay. I feel like since there's no CORS header, I feel like it's going to blow up. So we're probably going to have to proxy this, sadly, through something else, which is kind of lame because we won't be able to call it directly from our client-side code. So we're going to have to proxy it through something, which we could use an Azure function. We could use, what else could we use?
Azure function might be the easiest. See, I'm always about like, let's not be too crazy, JP. 5 hours later, we're still building the app. I mean, because I don't know. I am of the notion that maybe we just go down that path. Would that be easiest?
So we're going to do an Azure function with Blazor WASM, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do our proxy first, right? So I'll just call this realm proxy. And let's see, is it func new? Hello, unruly toaster. How are you? We'll do a new function here. We'll do .NET one because why not? We'll do C#, and it's going to have an HTTP trigger on it. That'll be the first one that we create. That will be the first one that we create. There we go. Okay. HTTP trigger, which is going to have a dumb name. Oh, no, it's not. We'll call this user realm. Who's Unruly Toaster 29, I wonder? And what is an unruly toaster? Is this one that dances around the edge of the bathtub? Like, what makes a toaster unruly?
That's a good question. Maybe Unruly Toaster should let us know how Unruly Toaster became unruly.
What's the origin story of the unruliness of said toaster? Okay, let's get this zoomed in. Now, if you are using an M1 Apple Silicon, I guess they're not just M1. So if you're using Apple Silicon Macs, OmniSharp for .NET 6 does work now. So natively, so no need for Rosetta, and it's actually quite fast. Okay. Now, what's really, really kind of a bummer here, Azure Function has something in it called proxies. And I believe, let's see if there are any snippets in here. I think it's proxies.json. Is that right?
Okay.
Let's see if can we find some snippets for functions, Azure Functions. Is there anything in here for proxies? Because I think they're getting rid of them, sadly enough, in favor of, like, you're supposed to go use Apple, or you're supposed to go use, what's it called? API management or something? Like, why do I use API management for something this basic?
That seems like overkill.
Oh yeah, see, look, they're gone in version 4. What? No more function proxies, which is super. I'm personally quite disappointed in that. So I guess then maybe we should just do an API management. We don't have to write any code except for front end code, right?
Okay.
I mean, do you want to try that?
Well, yeah, it's just deploying. It takes doesn't it still take like 20-30 minutes to deploy in the API management?
Well, the old one did, but this is the serverless one, so maybe it's okay now.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know what? I haven't actually deployed it.
Now, I will also be curious how much more expensive it is. Right? Like, if I go to the Azure calculator and we look at, I shouldn't assume that it's going to be more expensive. I should give our teams the benefit of the doubt. Let's look at Azure Function, and then let's look at API management. Okay. So Azure Functions, now I always use East US because that's where I live. consumption, you get the first million for free and the first 400,000 gigabyte seconds of memory usage. So we'll just say execution time in milliseconds, and we're going to do, whatever, 500,000. I guess let's do 1,500,000
Okay.
per month. All right. So that's 20 cents. It's quite cheap. Okay.
That might break the bank.
Why does my browser keep crashing? Ugh. Browser keeps crashing and it's getting kind of annoying. Probably because I'm trying to use Edge on.
Oh, so Bolt missed the update. JP spent a good chunk of time finding the right spot to put his T-Mobile router, and it's sitting outside on a pole that's how many feet up? 25 feet up? Is that what you said?
It's 20 feet. 20 feet
20
right
feet
now.
up, and it's wrapped in a Ziploc bag because it's not weatherproof. And
redneck weatherproofing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's some ingenuity. That's for sure what it is. So that's why his upload is much better today. So that's what Bolt missed, because Bolt is not on Twitter. He would have seen the tweet.
I could probably go run a speed test, and you guys would stay with me the whole time.
I mean, do you want to? Surely a birdhouse would keep it dry. Yeah. So I think the end game is he'll have somebody come out and build some sort of tower.
I mean, that's not bad. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because I know the little ones in there streaming Bluey and stuff right now. So I'll take 610? I'll take 610. I'll probably get a little wobbly.
But the upload's better. It was only 4.99 the other day.
Okay. So, hey. 610 is 75. I'll take that, man. For $30 a month? I mean, That's amazing that those are just little bits going across the internet. That's fascinating to me. Anyway. Okay, so let's do serverless, consumption is what they call it. Okay, so you get the first million free. We're not going to hit over 1 million, so maybe it's a push. Okay, so we get the first 1 million calls for free. Let's do, if we were to have 500,000, God, why do we do this sort of stuff? So if we were to do 100,000 extra calls and divide that by 10,000, too many zeros makes my brain hurt. That's 50 times 3.5 cents each, which gives us, because it's still part of the million. Come on. 150.
Okay.
That's $1.75. So while for our specific usage, this is likely, we're never going to hit 1 million consumption calls here. What we are talking about, however, is a nearly 9x price increase for the same functionality. Now, there's a lot more of extra functionality that it gives you, but my fact is, it's 9 times more expensive. So, bring back function proxies is we should go buy that one next.
That should be a hashtag that you put on Twitter after this.
Bring back function proxies. Well, problem is, as part of my mortgage, I promised that I would not do something that would cause me to lose my job. So I can't do anything too stupid for 60 days. So after 60 days, gloves come off. I'm just going to make fun of Badger Bryson all day long. But until then, I have to stay employed, or else I guess they can take my mortgage back or something. I don't know. They're like, give us the money back for the house. Okay. So I've never used serverless API management either. So I'm actually kind of excited to do this. So let's call this user realm proxy. We'll put in East US because that's the best side of the country. And validation, cool, we're good. I probably could have done that in CLI, but whatever. So let's go to our realm proxy. We're going to create a PIM in here. API management. This is the right one, right? I don't want to end up accidentally clicking one of these and getting something weird in my subscription. Oh, look at a $30,000 one-time payment. Like, I don't want to accidentally click that one.
You should do that. There's probably a policy that blocks it.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, let's create it. I guess. I hope. Okay, cool. All right. So we'll call this user realm proxy. I feel like we should give it a better name.
Can you make this bigger for Bolt? Bolt is having. There you go. Make it very big. There you go.
There you go. Better.
See that, and now you know how to get a hold of him at work because you can see his email up above.
Where? No. Let me take a moment on this because this is extremely irritating. Before
Azure Mask, my friend.
What?
Have you ever used Azure Mask? It's a little utility.
But it works for me like 8% of the time, and I'm not using Chrome right now. So
there's one for Edge. I use it for Edge all the time.
This isn't either of those.
What are you in?
Edge,
oh,
Edge
never
keeps
mind.
Crashing.
Never mind.
I mean, Edge keeps crashing. What am I? Probably because it's like canary silliness. Anyway, thing is, I was telling you I was fuzzy. Oh, when I worked here before, I had an alias I liked, which was JPDA. Wasn't obvious, wasn't guessable, and since everyone at work calls me JP, even though that's not actually my name, it was easy for them to type into the internet, into the gal, and find it, right? Well, when I left and came back, in addition to having all of my health insurance deductibles blow up and having to repay all of those, which was a total nightmare, I also lost my alias. And when I came back, they said, no, the new ones all have to follow first initial, last name, which means I've gotten more spam in the 6 months I've been back than I ever did in the 6 years I was here before, because people can guess your email address now. So it annoys me. I'm hoping that they realized that this was a mistake and they fixed it. But again, still in the 60-day window and can't get fired or else I'll lose my mortgage. So I have to be relatively, anyway. Administrator email, I don't know. This is so stupid. I'll use my live. Okay. Now we're going to choose consumption. That's one that we want. You can create only 20 consumption tier API management services in an Azure subscription. Each consumption tier can manage up to 50 APIs. Well, that's pretty good. App Insights, definitely. I guess I have to create a new one. This is not useful. Scale units are not supported, as you would imagine. Managed identity, we're not calling any protected things. We don't need to worry about that. No virtual network. Protocol settings. So HTTP2, sure, we definitely want to use that. We don't want old TLS. We definitely don't want old TLS, and I don't think we need these for talking to our back end. So we're good there. No tags. Our tagging thing, we'll go and tag it later. So let's get this created. Now, historically, this took like 400 days to get API management deployment out, but I think being serverless, you would imagine it would be a little bit faster.
But I haven't touched it since we worked on that customer together many moons ago when we both were still in sales. That was the last time I deployed it, and I was like, man, this takes forever. So
wait a minute. What are you saying, Bolt? Does that mean your free consumption APIM calls are limited to 50K per subscription, not per APIM? Most likely. So generally speaking, the million free, I believe the million, like I know with Azure Functions, the million free is not per function. It is, I think, per subscription. It could even be per tenant, but it is definitely not per function. And I would assume that the free APIM calls you get are also per subscription or per tenant, whichever the level actually is, not per thing. Now, if your question is, do you only get 50K per APIM? I don't think that would.
Looks like it's a million free. Bolt went to the pricing.
Yeah.
Page.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get a million free. Yeah.
Okay.
That's 1 million free based on 1 million requests of resource consumption per month per subscription and pay as you go across all function apps in that subscription. That's for functions. For API management, you get it's per subscription, 0 to 1 million. The first million calls per subscription are included. So presumably, if you were particularly cheap, I guess, and you were using like an EA, you could maybe create a ton of subscriptions and have a new APM in each one of those or something. I don't know. Like, that seems like the time you would spend automating that might take longer than just like making more money in a different way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know how to use this either. So if we do APIs, and I think this is what's irritating, by removing function proxies, which were fairly straightforward to set up. Now we have to go through like whatever circus this is for a proxy. So I guess first we have to publish an API. Well, let me try and get started. Okay, none of those. I guess this one, right? Right. Is what we want to do?
Yeah.
I guess we'll manually define an HTTP API, right? And we'll call this user realm, and it's at https login.microsoftonline.com whack common whack user realm is our sort of root URL, right? And the API suffix will be, oh no, we can't do that. Oh, the URL suffix, this is our core one, and then we're gonna have our thing in here. Oh no, let's see. Oh wait, what's the full do? So it's HTTPS. And I don't like this at all. This is so much more work. Okay, let's create this and see. Anybody here know anything about API management?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find anything.
Okay. So let's see here. We're going to add an operation, of which there is one, which is get user realm, and it is user realm whack. Well, it's this thing I got to put data in there. It's a template, so that's going to be log in microsoftonline.com common user realm, the thing, and then the template. How do I add a template? Or how do I? What is it? Like this? User? Oh, I don't need the extra bracket. I just need one bracket. Okay, and then the user is going to be something we get in from the. There's no default. The type is a string. Yes. Oh wait, we're writing the Open API spec right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
And then the description is the description. Okay, so there's that, and then the query string is always actually going to be the same, which is API version equals 2.0. I'm sure that'll change, well, at some point, but. Okay, so we'll save that. Okay. And then so wait a minute. Yeah, see, this is what always kind of throws me, is I'm not entirely sure like which order things are supposed to be in, User realm whack that. Okay, we'll save that. And we'll, I guess what we should probably do is make this common, right? So take this, let's take this off and make this just common. Okay. And then save that. And then our API itself, our user realm one specifically is one we'll do user realm, right? User, okay, so say that. And then, okay, so I'm gonna test it, even though I don't think it's gonna work.
Okay.
Let's try it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So this is what it's going to be, which does map to it is the exact same path as the other one, just you'd swap, like log in at microsoftonline.com for this one, which I would want to do because I want it to be similar. So let's try that. And 200. What? Hello? It worked on the first. No lies. This ain't real. Somebody they've already done this, or there's some hook somewhere. There's no way this worked the first time. Like, if it did, then go us. But I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But it looks like it did. So, okay, awesome. So, wait. So are we done? Do we have our proxy? Is our proxy done?
That's what it looks like. I mean, am I wrong? That's what it looks like.
What? Now, also, this web page is using significant energy. Closing it may improve the responsiveness of your computer. Okay, so it works, is what you're telling me, all the way through.
That's what it looks like. God,
yeah,
maybe I can be a developer, JP.
Anybody can be a developer.
I know.
You
I know. I'm just saying.
You already are.
I basically, I still am like, I'm still the perpetual green belt. I do great things, but I'm like, I get stuck everywhere. But yeah.
Okay, so I need a subscription key because we did tell it to have a subscription key. Now, I guess part of me is like, we really need a subscription key? Like, I mean, probably not. Save it. Okay. Now. Okay. So that is that working? Like, let's put a different one in here. Let me put one of my other domains in here. Yeah, okay, so that's working, right? So the next thing would be like, I wonder what's a good way to test cores. Let's see here. Let's test cores to see if we can actually call this from a web app. So the root URL is this. It's a get, send, and it failed, okay? So it doesn't work with cores, so we need to fix that. So would that be inbound, or I guess that would be outbound processing, would it not? Because what we want to do is we want okay. I wonder if that's a setting somewhere, or API management is the Azure API management cores. Let's see what we're getting here. Okay. Azure API Manager, what is that? Is that the same thing, do you think? Just with the wrong name? Or is that a totally different product?
I don't know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Wade. Thanks, Wade. Oh yeah, so there is, it's an inbound processing tag. So why would it be inbound? Because if I'm sending in a request, my request fails if there's not my request will fail if I don't get access control out origin coming back. Well, Paul Smith, I know, I can't either, mind you, but that's what people here call me, so I have to, if people even know what it is, right? Like, they have to know, I guess. They have to know who they're talking to, even though they don't. This way it's good because if somebody calls me, if they call me John, I know they don't work with me. Because otherwise I would know. Okay, so I need a policy. And in this policy, we need, apparently there's an inbound policy for, let's discard this, let's add allow cores, allowed origins. I guess we'll do star for now. Well, we've got testcores.org, and we've got ours, which will be adfs.me, and then we'll probably also have we'll probably have some local hosts. So let's add that. Okay, so save this one up. No Bolt. I tried to get that one, but whoever has that one, has not tweeted from it in a very long time, but it is not sadly available. So I've tried. Okay, so we got that. That's good. It's good. All good here. All good here. Okay, cool. Send it. 200. Okay, so we're still working here. We'll try it from here. To get, remote local. Okay, and this is our. Let's make sure this is okay. Yep, it's all good. All right. So I wonder. Still says it's not working here. So, because it'll stop processing at the inbound, the course policy won't match. Yeah, you're right, Bolt, but that is true. Wildcard options, interesting. Because yeah, I mean, is it the options? Is it the options call that's actually dying? I would imagine so. Let's see. I don't know if we included options. So can I not zoom this in? Oh yeah, we can. Okay, good. So let's send this request. That blows up. Is not allowed. Let's see. Oh, W's. I didn't put W's in the policy. That would be one. www. Let's save that one up. Don't know how long it takes to restart itself, but we'll find out in a minute, I guess. Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Cores is handled. So good. So we got cores, right? Nice. So we got our data back. Which is great. We got our 200. It's awesome. So it's good. Good. So we got our APIN working. Our APIN's already working. I'm amazed.
Yeah, because
cool.
this makes it so much more straightforward, does it not?
I mean, my jury is still out. I still feel like kind of like maybe, but so we're not going to be doing any posts. We're only going to be doing gets. And then I believe you only need options as a pre-flight before you do a post, I think. So I don't even think we need options now that I think about it. Because I close the window, but when we make that call, I believe the only thing we do is just a get. Although how would the browser know? I guess, hang on a second. Where's my, let's do this again. I want to see the inspector here. Yeah, it's just making a get, which would mean then that the server, if not configured, would then reject it. And then in the response is when it also includes the header. So our request header was so this is the origin. And then we're allowing that origin. Okay. Okay. So we've got our origins in there, which is great. Cool. All right. So we know our cores is working, which is awesome. So we don't have to do an Azure function. We don't even have to write new code to proxy it, which is fantastic. Wow. So now we just need a little quick and dirty web app. Okay. let's see. Custom domain. Should we put this behind our domain? No, we don't put it behind a domain, do we? Doesn't matter right now. Power platform. Wait a minute. Should we? I've never used Power Platform. I've done like a flow or two, but I've never done one of these. Have you ever done one of these? Do you know anything about these?
No. But I know that it's ridiculously simple. Supposedly, it's for those citizen developers that are out there that want to do a thing but aren't really great with deving. So I think the connectors are pretty decent.
Okay, so let me try then.
But you've got to you can't overthink, because if you overthink, you'll get stuck into this winding rabbit hole.
A phone number? What year is it?
2022. I hope everybody sends you a fun text.
Well, that's a Google Voice number. Years and years ago, people did send me that. People did send us text on that number when we used that phone number. Okay, so I want to create do
a blank app.
I guess a blank
website. I don't know what the difference between a Canvas app and a blank.
I don't know. This is dangerous. Yeah, 1877 Azure AD does still exist, Bolt.
Wait, what was this?
So, for Christ's sake, you don't have the appropriate permissions. Imagine that. I can create a new environment. Oh no, this is way too much. What? This is like, what is this? Can I just put like my name in here? Nah, I feel like somebody's gonna yell at me if I do that. So what are the environments? Okay. What are the other like? Let's see. What are the other like? I don't think I can do a Power App. Is what I'm feeling.
Well, isn't it tied to Azure Active Directory? It is, right? That's probably why you're getting some funkiness, because we have funkiness with our Microsoft subscriptions, because we're all in the same tenant. Hey, try it.
All right. I guess.
ADFS me, bro. Is that what it says?
Well, Power Apps, I thought it would be worth a try, but
it doesn't like Safari. It doesn't like Safari. Hey, I don't like Safari.
So are we saying that I have to go?
You could try Chrome if you're running into Edge problems. I mean, I know it's not.
I don't have Chrome installed.
Oh, I thought you did.
Hell no. Not on my machine. You kidding me? All right.
I have it as just an extra fail-safe in the event something doesn't work right in Edge. It will almost work right in Chrome.
Well, this is Edge. This is Edge. The other one I had was Edge Canary, and the Edge Canary.
That's probably why. That's probably your problem.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I mean, I applaud the effort that you want to dog food. Hi, John.
Hi. See, it knows. Uh-oh, my Zoom didn't seem to be working. Okay. I guess a form, right? That's what we want to create a form, right? Why can't I want to zoom the whole thing, not just this part. I need to zoom the whole interface.
Can't you zoom? Could you just change the resolution on your screen?
No, I can't do all that. That would truly be a mess. I will zoom the browser, and then I think we can zoom the little workspace thing in here too, right? Okay. So let's connect to some data. Let's see an API. Oh no. Oh, what is all this? So, how do I get my data in here? I wonder.
That I don't know. Let's see.
Tables. I don't want tables. Connectors. Maybe that's it. Maybe a connector.
Ooh, there you go.
Let's try that. 1-900.
JPD answers only.
Speaking of 1-900 numbers, when we moved in here, we found something the previous owners had left behind. Which is presumably it is a puzzle, a Playboy centerfold puzzle.
What?
It's a canister. It's like this all from the 60s. And then there are puzzle pieces, but the puzzle is of a Playboy centerfold. So I might.
You found all kinds of fun stuff. I feel like, so I saw what your wife posted about the horns, the antlers in your office, and then you found
the crown of horns. Yeah, it's still up there.
Yeah, I feel like that should just
So
be
So how do I?
Let's see.
How do I use APEN, or how do I use my own API? Like, what is this silliness? There's so many things in here, and like, this is lame. I don't like this.
So there's an API, Azure API Management Connector, Power Platform.
See all connectors. Okay, that wasn't showing up earlier. So let's try. Can I search these connectors? Because there's a whole lot in here.
Try for it. I'm seeing if.
Oh, what a pain.
Oh, it's a custom connector. So navigate to your API managed. Okay, API's Power Platform, create. So you got to create the connector in the APIM in Azure is what it looks like.
Okay, so, oh yeah. Sorry, there's a big.
We just made this. Yeah, we just made this really difficult. That's okay.
Because I guess it's the personal. I guess this is our default environment. So whatever. Okay, authenticate. Okay, not that account. Sorry, everybody. You have to watch this part because this is kind of boring. Sign in. Blah blah blah. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Then let's give it a name that I will recognize. This is way more involved than I expected it to be, but okay, whatever. Okay. So, presumably then. Wait, what? What do you mean lame excuse? Extreme excuse? What excuse did I give her? What are you talking about, Bolt? What excuse did I give my wife? Now you got me paranoid. What did I say? Because it's been recorded.
She can use this in a court of law, I think. You tread lightly. But
sorry, Ossifer. I had no idea, officer. Okay, so now if I refresh this, and if I search for J. Dandison user realm, which is the one that we just created, presumably that should show up.
There you go.
Does. Okay. Usable. Okay, so now it's also unusable because now everybody who wants to use it is going to have a premium license. I mean, how's this workable for anybody? Like, that's lame. So it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter because it's everybody who would use this would have to use the thing, right?
Oh man,
that's lame. I mean, it is what it is, but maybe we're not also. But maybe that's what the other one was, right? Which was the portal, public web portal thing or whatever. I don't know what it was called. So, what is the item? I mean, this is pretty much a get, right? Like, I just want to type the data in. Item. I don't know what item means. What's that mean? The data source. Okay, so why does data source have a thing? User realm isn't recognized. Okay. All right, so all that looks okay, I guess. So we're going to connect to data, add data, user realm, right? Like that's our data. Cool. I have to save it, maybe?
Try it.
Let's try it and see what we get. Let's save it, he said. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, Bolt, it's about the puzzle. I don't even know where you would buy a puzzle like that. Like, I have literally no idea where you would even begin. I guess the internet. I did look on eBay. People are selling them for like $100 some. I was like, you know, for a rainy day, I guess. Okay, well, so far my Power Apps experience hasn't been the most fantastic, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so we're connected to data, right? Like, or at least I feel like we are, because it says it's in my app. So does that mean we have to like drag it? Connect to data source, user realm. Edit field, like there are no fields? I don't, what's this? Oh, this is the doctor, okay. The accessibility doctor. User realm isn't recognized. Formally refers to something that no longer exists. Form one data source. So, I mean, do I need to search for it again?
No,
I have user realm one. Yeah, it doesn't seem to like that, I guess. I don't know how to make this do the thing. There are no fields in this control. Add a custom card.
No.
Add an item from the insert pane. Okay. Wait a minute. So display. So first we need an input, right? So first the user types in what they want. Let's call it like your domain, right?
Except take out the J.
Open Sans. What on earth?
Put it in Comic Sans.
Classy. Oh, it's not there.
Oh, not fair. Okay, fine.
Well, I'll do Patrick Hand. That's close, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So once we put this in, now, is there like an on submit action or something? Okay, so advanced. On change. Cool, okay. So on change, how do I add an action? Insert an action? That can't be right. You don't insert actions, you execute them. So on success, wait a minute. On change or on select, on change, we want to, I don't think I like this. Maybe it's because our data source hasn't exposed any actions, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
This is beginning to get annoying.
Well, do you want to just scrap it?
Are there any other things out there like this that are maybe a little bit more developer friendly? Like, I still don't want to write a bunch of code if I don't have to, right? Like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's data. Oh no. Okay, data, and then what is this? Tests, media, data, insert, tree. Okay. Components. Do I have to do a component? Oh no. I wonder if it's because our Open API doc probably doesn't have anything in it for our API. I wonder if that's what it is. But it should, though, because our API has... Because our API... Let's see, definitions. I guess we need to add a definition, maybe? Probably. I get it. Okay. But there is no payload. That's the problem. This is strictly a get. So, because I'm guessing the way it works, my assumption in the way it works is that the power connector will read the Swagger or Open API doc, right? And that's what will ultimately determine what is exposed in Power Platform, right? So here's our Open API doc. I'm going to take this over to Swagger so we can take a look at it. Let's go see if it's like how it actually looks and if it's valid yet, because some of the stuff may already be in there. So let's go see. Create a new API. Oops, no, I guess we need to create a new API. This is, what is this? ADFS me, bro?
Yeah, ADFS. Well, you said ADFS me, bro.
Yeah, it's like beer me. You know, like from, like, what's his name? Whatever, ADFS me. Okay. How much of stuff do I have to type in here? Template, no template, we don't want that. Version 1, blah, blah, blah. Cool, let's go. Come on. Okay, so if we paste, if you convert your JSON into YAML, oh my God. What sorcery have we stumbled upon? Okay. So, it's a get. The parameter is the user, which is in the path, and it returns 200. The security schemes we have are API header and query, which we're not using, but they're there, right? So thank you, Bolt. I'm old and useless. You're missing a comma there. I don't know if that's an Oxford comma or not. But
so did you know that our former colleague did a hackathon for Power Apps? And I was talking about this with Bolt in the chat, but he said, you know, he said, Mr. Canty, he did a hackathon or worked with folks on a hackathon. And what he told me was, he said, you know, a developer who's used to cloud and changing and stumbling through and making stuff happen, you'll totally overthink Power Apps. And I'm like, that's interesting. It's really almost not for devs, is what it sounds like to me.
I can feel like that's almost happening literally as we speak.
As we speak?
So
as we type? As you scroll?
Okay, hang on. Actually, I think. But see, the payloads are different. The payloads are going to be different depending on what you send.
Okay.
Some of them have more information. So, for example, well, no, I guess the core should still be there, namespace type, etc., right? So then, if I was to do my other one, oh yeah, see, so, tenant branding info essentially has lots more data, but let's see, namespace type, login is there, federation protocol, federation brand name. So I guess we could maybe cobble together we could probably cobble together a definition based off of that.
Okay.
I think. And at least then, if my assumption is correct, that the definition here will be, okay, so an example, let's do this. How do I scroll this over? Good. So let's generate an example. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. So if I was to paste this in, oh no. Let's delete this one. Let's do another one. Let's create a new definition. Here's our sample. Auto-generate payload from sample. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. And then the other thing, so the other thing we're missing, however, is we're going to have others too, right? Which are tenant branding info is going to actually have data in it in some cases. So let's go to tenant branding info, and we're going to change this out. Oh, can I not change that? What was this? There we go. Okay. Okay. I mean, I think that is tenant branding info is it an array? It is. Okay. So we are probably not handling that array correctly up here, which we are. Oh, I just have it twice. So, okay. Good to see I have everything figured out and under control here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's create this definition. Bam, bam. Now, we have a definition, which means we should be able to get a Swagger doc, right? Which also means that our connector, now I wonder, can we refresh our connector or do we have to create a brand new one?
It's a good question.
Create a power connector? Wonder if I give it the same name, will it work? I feel like the answer here is a hard no. But
I mean, it's worthy of trying. I'm sure something's going to get... Yeah.
Uh-oh. Somebody's doing something not supposed to upstairs. Okay. So back here, let's add, and it's our user realm. Okay. Okay. Can I like drag this thing over?
Try it.
Why can't I connect to anything? This is so annoying. Do I have to delete it and re-add it? I don't know.
I mean, it's worthy of trying. Maybe delete it and re-add it.
Yeah. Let's do that. Oh, I don't know how to delete it. How do you delete it? Yeah, let's leave this app. This app is trash. So, where are my data things, right? Like, apps? No. Where's my stuff that I've built?
Solutions? Or solutions just like anything you could potentially build?
Feels like something you would... 40 environment variables. I think these are things you can like buy. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Custom connectors. Maybe mine is in here. I would imagine it probably is, right? So my connector's in here. Should be anyway. This is super slow too. Maybe that's a me problem. I don't know. Can I not search? Are we for real right now? I don't like this. And I can't create a website, which I think is the external one, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're right. So I'll publish this, I guess, as user realm 2 for now, because I don't know what else to do, right? I guess the other thing is we can always manually write our Swagger because it's a public API, right? Like we're not doing any authentication on the API. So I guess in theory, we could always just do the open API stuff ourselves because, like, it doesn't really matter. My apps. So ADFS, there it is. Let's open up our app. Okay. I just got an email from Power Platform.
Did you do it wrong?
No, it says congratulations on your new app. I thought it was going to tell me I had
done it wrong.
It was like I had done something wrong. Yeah. Edit. There we go. Okay. I feel like I have to get started every time, but okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to skip the in-product help and then complain when I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So let's add its user realm 2. Okay. Cool. Sure. Now, it's loading. And is there anything different about this one? No. So I'm not feeling this vibe, but I want to see, like, I feel like this should work. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe I'm just an idiot. I don't know how this works. That's what it feels like. I'll say that much. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. I'm sure it will work. If somebody knew what they were doing, I'm sure it would work. I don't think I'm going to be able to figure it out. At least not with all these people looking at me. I'm also kind of getting fairly annoyed with this at the moment. Like, in the formula bar, I mean, I don't know how else to. Hang on. I got a guy. I'm going to call his bat phone.
Okay.
If Teams will ever open. I don't know what window it's going to open on, so if anything shows up offensive, I'm just going to apologize in advance. Wait a minute, what? I don't understand this. Instead of, where did Teams go? I'm like super anxious now. Where's Teams? Anyway, there it is. Okay. Let's see. How do I? Corey, friend of mine. Like, this is all he does. So.
Callaway?
No. Okay. So we've got our data, right? Do I link the data to this or something? This form isn't connected to any data yet. Do I drag something? Is it? Do I have to give it the name of a field? Name space type? No, because I mean that's not the source, right? The data source would be the data source name, the local data source name here, right? The item might be something like namespace type, right? Like that's one of the fields that's in it, but it doesn't like that either, apparently, unless it's like user realm _1 dot. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, hold up. Wait a minute. So this is get user realm, and then the user is whatever they type in here. Okay. Right? Okay, hang on. What is this thing called? text input 1. Okay, wait a minute. Text input 1. How do I write, how do I set an on-change function? That's what I don't get. Is it, wait a minute. Okay, hang on. I just want to see data. That's all I want to do at the moment. So I'm going to just put a string in here. Okay. So that's my data source. Okay. And then the item is going to be the item is the name. We'll just say namespace type, right? That's one of the things that comes through there. So I'll save it. That's one of the fields. I'm sorry. Namespace type is one of the fields. No, I don't want to publish anything. So if I run it, it still says no data source provided. Hold down the Alt key. Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, maybe what we do is you ask your Power Apps friend how to get this up and functional, and then we showcase what you did to fix it. So it sounds like we're sort of at like we can't go forward without a lot of extra work at this point, right? Live?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, sort of. I guess maybe we should just written code in the first place instead of trying to get fancy, cute. But that's okay.
Bolt sounds like a guest appearance. Yes, exactly.
Yes, it does.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so maybe
try this, but yeah, it doesn't work. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, you're right. So let's talk to some people and see if they know how to make this silliness work. And in the interim,
we will get ADFS.me up shortly, and then what you can do is you can let us know when it's up and functional. I mean, have a show. You can showcase what you learned, and then we can tell everybody to get a hold of you for all their Power Apps questions.
Oh no, we can't have that. I'm sure it's probably fine. I'm sure somebody's gonna say, "Man, this is such a great thing." But at any rate, it's cool. We got our API running, so that's all. That's what I was really concerned about. So it's good. And the other thing, two other things we got on our list. So we do have to figure out if we're going to do Power App, we're going to build some other. We also need to update our Connect Health activity script to use the active endpoint. So, but beyond that, we got lots of other ADFS fun stuff going on. In fact, we're going to have some folks out in Discord to help with your ADFS migrations. If for some reason, oh, you know what? I think it's because
different camera.
It's because the camera's probably mirrored. So, because it's always been on the right, the desk. Anyway, if you're still running ADFS, somebody mentioned earlier about disconnected environments. If you're still running ADFS, we would be really, really curious to learn why, because there are actually teams that are focused on filling those gaps right now. So there have been lots of gaps that have been filled, like sort of feature parity gaps between ADFS and Azure AD, and to help people migrate. So like certificate-based authentication, for example, like smart cards. You can smart card off directly to Azure AD now. So there are 20 or 25 features that have come in the last, 12 months, specifically about doing this, about like specifically to solve parity issues. So if you're still using ADFS for any reason, and you want to share with us why, and I know we're not going to tell you like you must move or anything like that, but if you want to tell us why you're using it, or if you're interested to like maybe learn if there are alternatives, or if you want to tell us why you're using it so we can get your scenario on our backlog, absolutely join us on our Discord. The link is here. You can join us on Discord. If you don't want to do Discord, you can also just email us, or you can reach out to us on Twitter, or however else you want to find us. So let's see. I'm going to put a little thing on here. Tell us why you keep ADFS, and you can do that at 425show@microsoft.com, or you can DM us on Twitter or on Discord. So I think most everyone here will have, at a minimum, an email address they can send us, or you can send us a DM to tell us why, because we'd really like to know. Okay, now the only other thing we got to do now is we got to go raid somebody. Who are we going to go raid today?
Oh, good question. Who's online?
Well, good question. Let's see who's available. So right now we've got Alt F4, some of our friends over there. We've got Code It Live, Code Rush. Where should we go? Should we go see
let's
Alt
do the
F4?
let's do the Alt F4. We worked with them during
F4.
the IGA work we did earlier in the year. So let's go to the Alt F4.
Yeah,
They're
so we
always
got
doing
Alt
fun
F4.
stuff.
We're gonna go see what they're up to. We will be back later this week or early next week. I'm not sure which one just yet. We'll be back soon.
So
of course, we'll always be out on Discord. So yeah, stay tuned. Come hang out with us. We're gonna do this raid, and we will see you in a couple of days. See everybody.